Hi, I'm Kyle.
And I'm Trevor. And welcome to Catching Up on Cinema. This month we've been celebrating our Catching Up on Keanu month. All of May we've been watching Keanu Reeves films. And this episode is essentially the culmination of Catching Up on Keanu month, as pretty much the reason why we started this whole thing was because we were excited about the release of John Wick Chapter 3 Parabellum, directed by Chad Stahelski. If you're not familiar with the program, Catching Up on Cinema is a podcast wherein Kyle and I typically select a movie that one of us has seen and introduce it to the other person, to the other co-host. And in this way, we help each other to catch up on cinema. In this case, this is a special theatrical edition of the show, meaning, obviously, we saw a movie that has been out, about a week now? Maybe less?
Yeah, by the time this post, it's been out for about almost exactly a week, yeah.
Yeah, so, Kyle, we are both very excited about this movie, but we should probably give the folks at home a little rundown as to our background with the franchise.
Yeah,
this is the third film in a series now.
Let me start off by saying I watched John Wick about late last year, about 4 years after the first one came out. After many of my friends telling me I need to watch it, and I loved it. I thought it was great. I thought the story was good. I felt stuff. There was heartstring tugging. I hated the villain. It was good. And the second one didn't really blow me away. I wasn't impressed by it. The scenes with Common were good. And I think I watched John Wick 2 like the same week that I watched John Wick 1. But I saw the trailer for this one, and I'm like, yeah, this is going to be fun. Like, this is going to be a good one. They got me with the trailer.
Oh, yeah. No, excellent promotion, especially, I mean, this is a very R-rated franchise, so all of the good bits aren't in the trailer, and yet somehow they still managed to get you hyped anyway, so good on them. So my history with the franchise is a little bit more intimate, I guess, because I've been following it since it started. Like, the first movie, it's funny, because I remember the promotion for it, and I remember not really giving a shit. But then I started researching it, and all these little behind-the-scenes details started popping up where I was like, oh, shit, he's involved? Oh, he's involved? He's in there? And then, you see the movie, and for me, somebody who's obsessed with martial arts and action films, these movies are, like, I don't know, people get hyped about the Avengers and stuff. This is my Avengers. Like,
gotcha.
So many of the names and faces that pop up in these movies are just like a love letter to people like me. Growing up, my dad used to have an expression. He would call people "that guy" in reference to like character actors in action movies that would just be there to fall down. Guys in the background who your average moviegoer wouldn't bother to learn their name, but it's like, oh, it's a that guy. The John Wick films are like a love letter to those that guys.
Yeah.
There's a couple of familiar faces that, thanks to this show, now you know who they are. Chen being one of them. But like in the first movie, Kevin Nash as a doorman, he's just there. And then Daniel Bernhardt, who is from the Bloodsport 2 through 4 movies. He's appeared on Mystery Science Theater 3000 more than once, as far as I know. He's not a noteworthy actor, but he's a working stuntman that has really worked his way up the ranks. But the first one I think is very solid. But after the movie, I was doing like a debriefing with my friends, and it occurred to me that's like that movie's going to be really hard to go back to now. Because, like, aesthetically and in terms of, like, ambition in regards to the execution of the stunts and whatnot, it's so tame by comparison. This movie is leaps and bounds ahead of it in so many ways, but...
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, compared to the first one, I think the first one, it invented, gun fu. It invented its own style of fight killing. And then the second one just didn't... the second one just didn't do anything. Like, it didn't really feel innovative, and there was a bit more car action, and it just kind of was there. This one, on the other hand, I was like, what are they going to do? It's kind of like an M. Night Shyamalan movie, like, what's it going to be this time? Like, what's the twist? What new thing are they going to bring? They bring it in this one. I was thoroughly impressed with the action scenes in this movie.
Well, it's amazing, because, like, the stunt world is very similar to the horror world in a lot of ways. Like horror movies that's like the most innovative genre in film, because that's where most people get their start in cinema. And so a lot of times you'll see really ambitious young folks trying to push the envelope, like paying homage to what came before, like very blatantly, but saying, hey, we have better technology and better stunt people and whatnot. Let's try to do it better than they did. Because, I mean, Raiders of the Lost Ark, the truck stunt, like him going under the truck and stuff, that was incredible.
I actually watched that last night. I watched that movie last night, yeah.
Oh, I adore that movie. I watched it so many times when I was a kid, mostly for the truck and the airplane. Like, those scenes back to back, it's like, I don't even need the rest of the movie. Even the opening with The Rock and stuff, and Alfred Molina in brownface. Like, yeah. Throw me the idol, I throw you the whip.
I know a scam artist when I see one, and...
But, no, the plane fight and the truck chase, that's all I need. But what I'm trying to say here is that stunt is incredible, but with current camera technology and working stunt professionals, we have the means to surpass it. And it's movies like this that go about trying to do that. And I kind of feel you on John Wick 2. Okay. Where it does kind of feel like they're spinning their wheels a little bit. And it has a weird... All of these movies, actually, all three of them have very strange pacing. Because the first one has a very light opening, and then it builds and builds and builds, and the middle is actually the biggest, most exciting portion of it. And then the end, it kind of peters out.
Yeah, you're right.
Second one has a bombastic opening, and then a boring
soggy middle section. And
then it picks up in the last third.
Yeah.
But then it like comes to a dead stop at the very, very end. And then the third one, kind of similar rhythm to the second one, actually.
Yeah, you're right. It definitely slows down a bit in the middle. I think the beginning part of the movie was more impressive than the end.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think all three of these movies actually end kind of poorly, to be honest. I'm sorry, Keanu fighting an old Swedish man in the rain is the nightclub shootout in the first one is the centerpiece of the film, and it happens in the center of the film. The second one, I think I was most impressed with the opening, just because of the diversity of action put on display, because you get some car stunts, you get some gun fu, and transitions directly into like some judo and Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and it's all seamless, all in one location, all at once. However, by the time we get to this third movie, they do all of that and then some.
I was gonna say, this movie was
it kind of shits on the opening of the second one.
Yeah, this one's rich. Like, the action scenes are like, oh, it's gonna keep going. It's gonna keep going. Okay, that's fine.
I'm okay with that. I'm fine with this.
I guess we could talk about the plot a little bit. Like we mentioned before we started recording, this not a lot moves as far as the story goes in this. Nothing really happens.
I mean, let's very briefly dial it back to the first one. So if you're not familiar with the franchise, if not, how dare you? John Wick is a member of an assassin's guild. He's like legendary among their ranks as having been like the best of the best of the best.
International,
International Assassin's Guild. That apparently has people everywhere, as we'll learn as the franchise goes on. When we're introduced to him in the first film, though, he's in retirement, and I believe his wife has just died of cancer. But then he gets a puppy. I think it was like a post-mortem gift from her. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the puppy is very symbolic of being like her, both a living thing that he loves as well as the last gift given to him by his dead wife. The puppy, some shenanigans happen, some asshole kills the puppy, John Wick loses his shit, and he's back. He goes on killing spree, which is basically the entirety of the first movie, him seeking revenge for having the puppy get killed. Second movie is a lot of wheel spinning. It begins immediately after the first film ended. So it's just like straight into action. I don't even really remember what that action was for, other than him having a brief conversation with Peter Stormare. Oh yeah, I think he wanted his car back. I think it got jacked or something. Anyway, and then the major development that happens in the second one, though, is that the scope of the story gets expanded like by leaps and bounds. Because the first film's very small. Like, we were told about a lot of things about this Assassin's Guild, but we're not actually shown them because it's a low-budget movie. It's the beginning of a franchise. It's not proven yet. Second one, though, it's like, okay, let's blow things open and play around a little bit. So we get introduced to more of the inner workings of this guild. We learn that it's super international and that they have people everywhere. And then there's some leadership sect called the High Table. There's an Italian fella that asked John Wick to do him a favor. Merry mishaps ensue. A lot of people die. And John Wick ends up violating one of the big rules of the Assassin's Guild. And he kills said Italian man on the Continental grounds, the Continental being a hotel in New York.
Yeah, it's an asylum. It's a place of sanctuary where no violence is allowed. And it's the one... You had one fucking rule, and he breaks it. Knowing full and well what was going to happen.
Exactly.
Well, what ends up happening at the end of that, instead of killing him on the spot, Ian McShane, who runs the Continental, is going to give him, an hour to leave before he's like, I'm going to give you a grace period of 1 hour before first of all, you've been, what's the word? They use a lot of different words to say shut down or excommunicate. There we go.
Excommunicado.
So not only is he going to be banned, they're also going to have a bounty on his head, which we find out is about $14 million. And we come to the third movie, and he's got I think he's on his hour. He's trying to... It's not clear what he's trying to do. He's trying to accomplish something in this movie, and we don't find out until about an hour and a half in what he was trying to get to.
Yeah, so essentially the movie's kind of like a man on the run, or like a chase movie. A lot of it is him running from place to place, calling in favors, and then big action climax, some plot revelations at the end, credits. So I mentioned... Oh, I just wanted to say... this.
Go ahead, sorry.
Oh, I just wanted to say all three of these films are directed by a fellow by the name of Chad Stahelski. He's not a household name, but interesting history in the film industry. He's primarily a stunt coordinator, but he doubled for Keanu in the Matrix films. And apparently he was involved in the production of The Crow, which I think later in the franchise history, Mark Dacascos would get involved with, and he has a significant role in this film. So
it was driving me nuts who he was in this. I'm like, who the fuck is that guy? It was killing me. Yeah.
But yeah, just yet another instance of Keanu being the coolest guy in Hollywood and probably like pointing at Chad and saying, "Hey, I think he should direct the movie." It's like, really? He's a stunt coordinator. It's like, yeah, the movie's got a lot of stunts.
A lot of stunts. The narrative is going to take a back seat.
I'm not going to say much. I'm going to get paid $1 million a word.
How old is Keanu now? Is he in his 50s?
He is.
Okay, so honestly, the beatings and fighting that happened in this movie, the John Wick 4 should be called John Wick 4 Percocet and Gatorade, because the whole time I'm like, he needs a mess of painkillers and he needs electrolytes because he has been fighting. Get the man a sandwich or something. The poor guy hasn't eaten. Jesus.
I just want to see John Wick, like, when he wakes up in the morning and tries to bend over to pick up the newspaper and his back just goes out. That's what ends his career. It's just bending over to pick up the paper.
This should be called an action black comedy because...
Yes, absolutely.
So let's tell the folks about some fights. You wanna jump in here a little bit?
Yeah, so our movie kicks off immediately with Keanu running in the rain. He's constantly checking his watch. What kind of dog was that, by the way, Kyle?
It's a pit bull.
Guy. It's a pit bull.
It was just a pit bull.
It's a very cute pit bull.
It's not the best dog. It's not the best dog in this movie. I love the dogs in this movie.
I saw this movie in the theater with many dog lovers, so they were super hyped about a lot of scenes in this movie.
Dude, I had so much fun watching this movie in the theater. I
did too.
This and I think The Visit were probably my two of my most favorite movies to watch in the theater as far as the audience, because this was a movie where everybody in the audience was doing the same thing. We were all laughing. We were all fuck. God damn.
The black comedy aspect of it, I think, was what makes it work on the whole. Is that all of these films kind of have that like winking quality to them, where it's like, yes, they are brutally violent, and the soundtrack would have you believe that it's like a deathly serious film series, and aesthetically, like the lighting and the costuming and the sets, it's a very serious looking film, but the actual like presentation, you can't help but laugh at parts of it.
There's no music in the knife part.
Yeah, it's so excessive that it's like you start laughing at some point, and it's great.
We weren't sure if we were allowed to laugh. Like I was sitting there giggling, and I'm like, no one else is laughing right now. I'm like, this knife scene is hilarious. This is comedy gold. This is fucking hilarious.
I think I saw it in the perfect circumstances because. Man, there were like a half hour of trailers before this movie started. And I got
caught in traffic, so I didn't miss all of them. I missed some of them.
I had to run from Fremont back to my house and then drive there, so I was all sweaty and stinky and a little bit late. But no, I think what made this perfect was that one of the trailers that played right before the movie started was Hobbes and Shaw.
Yeah,
The Rock and Jason Statham in what looks like the single most amazing film ever made.
Yeah, the Rock is pulling down a helicopter.
He's pulling down a helicopter. And him and his native brothers on the island of Samoa are going to fight evil with clubs and win. And I'm so psyched for this movie.
I was watching the preview for that. The last time I was at the theater, it was playing. I'm like, I wonder if Trevor's going to see this. And then I saw The Rock in the flower. I don't know what that flower thing is that those guys are wearing. The Hawaiian gear.
Like a lei?
Yeah, I'm like, okay, Trevor's going to see this in the theater. And then you see him pulling the helicopter. I'm like, Trevor's going to see this in the theater.
Trevor's going to see this in the theater and buy it on
Blu-ray.
Buy it, no, fucking 4K. Day one purchase.
Hey, the Rock's kids got to eat. I guess you're feeding them.
But yeah, I think having that be the opening act for John Wick 3 kind of set the stage perfectly, where it's like,
yeah,
that level of ridiculous is what we're getting ready for. And it's ridiculous, but it's, oh my god, it's entertaining.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel like I'm going to hell for laughing at some of the things that I laughed at.
No, we were supposed to.
I hope so.
I wanted to text you. I'm like, I just wanted to give you this. You're allowed to laugh because.
Oh, I was laughing hysterically. A lot of moments.
So I was actually sitting by myself. Steph didn't want to go see this. She's just like, no, I don't want to go see it. I'm like, yeah, I would normally just wait to watch it when you weren't here, but since it's in the theater, but I had to get up and pee right when he was meeting. He meets the guy in the desert, and I got back, and the guy sitting next to me was like, hey, so. Here's what happened while you were gone. He let me know what happened. I'm like, no, it was.
That's amazing.
We had a great time in this theater. Like I had people covering their mouths and like, oh shit, like, oh yeah, there
shit,
like people.
There was a lot of Jesus.
Like, I did some.
Yeah, me too.
There. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. So I believe, Keanu's running through the rain. He is trying to find his way somewhere. We don't really know where. At some point, he runs down an alley, and we're reminded. This is good editing, good storytelling, by the way. We're reminded that he is running away from an organization that has people everywhere. So he ventures down an alley, and then what looks like a homeless person like calls him out by name and says, "Tick-tock, Mr. Wick, tick-tock."
Oh, that's he's from
Matsukas?
Yes, he's one of the funniest comedic actors out there. If you have ever seen The League, he plays Rafi El Cañado. He's fucking brilliant. Yeah, I wish they could use him a bit more in these movies, but yeah,
maybe they will.
Maybe they will.
But yeah, I think this is there mostly just to remind the audience, like people that maybe aren't as involved as folks like me, that, oh shit, he's running away from the world, essentially. So he keeps trying to get away or get to some location. We're still not sure where. At some point, he gets in a cab, and we're given another reminder as to the inner workings of this fictional universe. He has a gold coin that he gives the cab driver, who is also apparently in on the joke, because traffic is so backed up that it's pretty obvious the cab's not going anywhere. However, he has this dog with him, this pit bull. It's a puppy, right?
He's probably like 1 or 2 years old. He's probably like a year old. Very, very cute.
He's big, but not for his breed. But he's very cute. So he's trying to take care of the dog, so he pays off the cab driver and says, take him to the Continental, take him to the hotel where he'll be protected, because I'm clearly not protected at this moment. Which brings us to the library, which is our first action beat in the film. He's there to pick up some stuff that he stashed. I believe it's a marker, which in John Wick Chapter 2 we were introduced to. It's basically a compact that has someone's blood, like thumb imprint on it. And basically it's a contract between two individuals. It's a blood pact. So he has one of those, and it's already been marked. So it's like, who does that belong to? So it's a tool that he's going to use later. And then there's also a photo of his wife and a rosary. And he takes everything but the photo. He attempts to put that away. And then we get our first action beat. It's it's interesting because they keep cutting back and forth between the people at the Continental, or the people that work for the Assassin's Guild. And for some reason, ever since the first movie, and they've carried this on, everybody who works in the records department are suicide girls.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Yes, they are suicide girls.
Yeah, every single one of them, except for the one guy that I think plays the Penguin on that Gotham show.
No, that's not him, but he looks like a tattoo artist from 2009, so yeah.
Yeah, very fitting description. Anyway, we keep cutting back and forth between Keanu trying to escape and the people in the bookkeeping department doing a countdown of when he's fair game to be killed, when the contract actually goes live. And he gets ambushed by a 7'3" Boban Marjanovic, who my brother had to tell me who he was. I mean, he's 7'3". Obviously, he's a person that you might know. He's in the NBA. I think he said he plays for Philly.
Yeah, I know. I wasn't gonna.
I didn't know. I don't watch the NBA, but my brother knew him by name, and it was kind of funny because I'm not used to that happening in these movies where it's like, oh wow, he recognized him and I didn't.
The knife fight was so funny. I forgot about how funny this fight was. This was hilarious.
Yeah, there's some great beats in here. The way you can tell it's supposed to be funny is that they're having a fight in a library. By the way, Keanu is using a book.
He shushes him at one point.
Yeah, Boban shushes him at one point because they're in the library. And then he grabs him by the head and just kind of bashes him against all the bookshelves. Yeah. But then there's this one shot that's just at the end of the aisle, and it's a stationary camera shot, and they keep pushing each other back and forth into frame and out of frame. And it's like that's comedic. You can't help but laugh at that. Pretty well choreographed. These movies in a lot of ways feel like love letters to the art of action choreography. So there's a lot of homages to things that came before. One such thing that I can recall is The Bourne Ultimatum, which famously had a fight sequence where Matt Damon beats up a fella with a book. This sequence is much more protracted, not more ambitious, but more protracted. Boban doesn't sell very well because I think he's just too big. He doesn't whip his head around when he gets hit. Keanu's doing a lot of throat chops and stuff.
That's what I would be doing. Yeah,
I think every single person he tangles with in this movie gets kicked in the balls at least once.
It's what you do. Work smart, not hard. You can keep punching him in the face, but there's one spot on every man that is a surefire way to drop him. Why be around the bush?
Shop smart, S smart. But oh my god, the final blows in this sequence were incredible.
Yeah.
So Keanu, gets this fella on his knees, braces him up against the end of a bookshelf, and he's like slamming the spine of this book into Boban's mouth, and he gets like a half dozen hits in there.
It's a Chelsea grin. If you remember from Green Street Hooligans, where he's like, "Oh, have you ever had a Chelsea grin?" And he puts the credit card in his mouth and he's about to punch it.
But with a book.
This guy could eat a credit card pretty easily, so he has to use a book.
Yeah, like 400-page book.
Yeah.
And then, just cherry on top, he finishes things off by bracing the book vertically on a table, placing Boban's, like, the side of his neck on it, and then smacking him on top of the temple so his neck snaps sideways.
Yeah.
It was beautiful.
Yeah.
And it was the first of many, oh, shit, moments in this movie. And the whole time I was watching it, a Simpsons quote came to mind. It's I think Homer was beating up a very elderly hamburger, and there's a child that's watching the spectacle unfold. He's like, "Stop! Stop! He's already dead!" And there's so many scenes in this movie that felt just like that, but I love it for it.
Did you mention that John got stabbed by him in the shoulder?
I did not, and that is a very important plot detail.
Yeah, the big tall guy, for some reason, had to stab him in the shoulder to stop him. It didn't stop him, by the way. It didn't even slow him down, honestly. He gets stabbed in the shoulder, so he's got to go see a doctor, and he's got about 5 minutes before his contract's up. And not only is he excommunicado, he cannot get any services by anybody associated with the organization. So he goes to his doctor, and he's like, "Doc, I need you to fix it up." And he's like, "You got like 5 minutes." He's like, "Well, come on in, let me stitch you up." And Doc's stitching him up, and he has to stop. He's just like, "Well, that's as far as I can get. You're going to have to finish it yourself." And
there's some good tension building here where the whole time he's stitching him, Keanu's staring at this grandfather clock and like watching time tick down. Is actually like counting down the seconds, and it's like, "Oh, time's up." So Doc takes his hands off and is like, "Oh, I did all I can." And then Keanu takes a mirror and finishes the stitch job himself because he's super badass.
Yeah.
By the way, Doc is played by Randall Duk Kim, a Korean-American actor that previously was in The Matrix Reloaded with Keanu as the Keymaker. He's also the voice of the turtle in the Kung Fu Panda movie.
Did not see that.
Kung Fu Panda's fun. Anyway, Keanu is like still trying to patch himself up, and then Doc tells him like, "Oh, grab those pills up on that shelf," which leads to a really goofy comedic beat that excess is the name of the day here, taking things to extremes to comedic effect. So he starts like shaking his head. He's like, "Oh man, why did I help you by telling you where those pills were?" So he gives Keanu a Derringer, like a 2-shot pistol, and he says, "Okay, I need you to shoot me here." And he's like trying to tell John Wick where to shoot him to make sure that when the members of the organization come across him, they believe that he didn't help him. And so he's like trying to like point out like, "Oh, you should shoot me here," and then without even like blinking, Keanu shoots him. And then just for shits and giggles, he does it again in a different location, at Doc's insistence, by the way. He's like, "No, it's got to be 2 shots, otherwise they won't believe you."
He's like, "Don't graze my collarbone." Pop!
It was funny.
Yeah, it was good.
Oh, it was very funny. Which I think brings us to the knife fight.
Yes. The knife fight. So Keanu just runs through this lamp store in some kind of Chinatown, Koreatown. I'm not entirely sure. I'm not trying to be racist. I'm just saying there's different towns, and it's inconclusive which one it is.
If I had to guess, Chinatown.
That's what I would guess.
Chinese signage, and the majority of these stunt actors are Chinese.
Gotcha. Well, you just mentioned the Korean actor, so I'm like, I don't know where we're at.
Well, he's Randall Duk Kim, and he's an old Asian American actor. So he's
played
used
like
to
every Asian.
He's used to being whatever they need him to be.
Jeez. So yeah, they run through there, and there's these guys chasing him, and he gets into what looks like an antique gun and knife store. It's really kind of cool. It looks like it'd be kind of cool to go in and check out, but I don't know how we got in here. But he he grabs a gun and he puts the bullet in, and the bullet doesn't fit. So he makes a new gun, from what I can tell.
I think it's a revolver.
Yeah.
And I think he takes the revolving chamber of the revolver and swaps it into a different pistol. So he essentially makes a new gun kind of on the spot.
It doesn't really help.
This is the first of a few examples of just straight up gun porn in this movie. That it's there to appease someone who isn't me, because some of these shots linger a little longer than they needed to. Because there's a good 5-second shot. It's a fast-paced action movie, so some of the editing, actually not in the action itself, but some of the editing is pretty quick, pretty brisk. But it's just this long sustained shot of him assembling this pistol, kind of carefully, kind of slowly. It's okay. But there's a lot of instances of that, and I think that's there's a certain group of people out there that would get something from that. Yeah. But yeah, he puts this gun together, and I think he only gets enough. He only has enough time to load it with 1 or 2 bullets. I think
one. He has enough time to load it with 1 bullet, and he shoots 1 dude in the head. I'm like, that was it? That's all he needed that for?
I mean, it's 1 guy off the table.
Yeah.
So yeah, some guy runs into the door behind him, and he just under the armpit shoots him straight in the middle of the forehead, and it's pretty cool. It reminds me of a old western or something. But then he runs into a back room, and then we get the knife fight, which was, I think, one of the highlights of the movie. Overall, it's gotta be 5 guys, a 5-on-1.
Well, it's about 3 at a time, but I think it's a total of 9 guys. There's quite a few.
Yeah, there's a few guys that get offed pretty quick.
Yeah, this scene was a lot of fun. There's a lot of stabbing, a lot of multiple stabs, a lot of knife throws. This is where I was I want to laugh, but I'm not sure if I'm supposed to. And the rest of the theater was like that too. I was I feel like we should be laughing at this. You're allowed to laugh at it. If you watch this movie, you can laugh at this part.
Yeah, when a man gets made into a porcupine by the sheer number of knives put into his face, you can laugh at that.
You can laugh at that.
But yeah, excellently staged sequence. Couple of noteworthy stunt actors in this scene were Roger Yuan, who you have seen in many films, even if you didn't know his name. He was in Lethal Weapon 4 as one of the goons. Maybe his most prominent role, he was the bad guy in Shanghai Noon. And then
the bad guy in Shanghai. Shanghai. Yes. Oh, I didn't recognize him.
And then, he had fake facial hair and stuff.
I thought he was dead, honestly.
And then Batman Begins. I don't know if he did stunt work on the movie, but he is the guy who is, I think, talking to Commissioner Gordon about the fear toxin getting put in the water supply.
Huh.
He's just there in a CDC suit.
I remember him in that.
But he is a fixture in Hollywood stunt coordination. He's done everything. And then Tiger Chen. Keanu Reeves' best buddy in the world, Tiger Chen, was in this scene.
I didn't even notice that. I was just too...
Oh, how dare you?
I mean, were you looking for him, though? Was that the thing?
No. I mean, I had a feeling he was going to be in it, but as soon as I saw him, I put my finger up and said, hey, it's Tiger.
See, for this movie, I'm I'm just going to sit back and take the ride. I'm going to try to remember what I can. I'm not going to be able to take notes because this is a new movie. There's going to be people there.
I'm not going to be that guy who's dicking around on his phone in the theater.
Don't do that. You people don't do that.
If you do that, you sit in the back.
You sit all the way in the back.
Mm-hmm.
No, I didn't want to be rude, but This was probably my favorite part of the whole movie.
Me too.
Was this scene?
No, the knife sequence was great because it escalates. It's good storytelling.
I enjoyed the Halle Berry. The Halle Berry sequence was a lot of fun because she did really well in that as far as the fighting is. I don't know how much it was her stunt double or whatever, but from what I could gather she was doing, it was pretty good. And the dogs,
the dogs, them dogs. But yeah, Tiger Chen gets maybe the most brutal death in the whole movie. He gets stabbed in the eyeball.
We see it.
It's akin to Private Ryan knife. but in the eye.
That is probably the heaviest movie death I've ever seen.
Most people would agree with you. I do too.
Adam Goldberg getting it. Yeah,
this
is when with the theater we came together and we're like, we're gonna talk to this movie. We're not gonna talk to this movie. I'm sorry, but we're going to exclaim out loud how we feel in these scenes because everybody at the same time was like, "Fuck! Oh shit!"
I think where it really clicked, aside from the book part, it kind of was like, okay, this is what we're in for. Where it really clicked, I think, is when they started throwing knives at each other and missing.
Yeah.
When the handles were bouncing off of people's shoulders,
that was so funny.
That was so funny because it looks like two kids just like pillow fighting or something. Where it's like, God damn it! And they're just grabbing whatever's available and throwing it at each other and hoping for the best. It's absolutely brutal, but definitely hilarious. And for me personally, I actually really did get off on seeing Tiger Chen get a moment in there. He was instantly recognizable because he had the exact same haircut as he did in Triple Threat. He had a bowl cut. He has bangs, basically. It's a weird look.
They're henchmen. They're putties. Like they're like. Yeah, exactly. These are just dead people. I wasn't looking at their faces, but it is nice.
Later on, they don't even get faces. But
my close second. Like a close second for favorite scene is when he fights they're not twins, but the two guys that are about the same size later.
Oh yeah, I have a lot to say about that.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, we'll get there. But following the knife sequence, I think, is the stables.
This was really creative. I don't like animals in movies, and anytime you see a horse in a movie, you're like, fuck, that horse is gonna die. Like not in real life, but that horse is not gonna make it. No,
yeah, the advertising campaign for Warhorse. It's like, oh, that horse is so dead.
I've seen a lot of I've seen a lot of movies like taking place where horses were a part of battle. I've seen a lot of Game of Thrones. I'm like, these horses are not gonna make it. But he weaponizes the horses. Tell me how.
Mm-hmm. So he's being pursued by some gentlemen in suits because almost everybody in these movies wears either suits or leather jackets. Through some stables in New York, where they actually have those. And he doesn't really have a weapon, so he very carefully angles himself behind a horse, and he slaps it, and it causes it to kick backwards directly into a man's face, and it's juicy. It's quite tasty. It's not as impactful, but I did like when all he did was like turn the horse, and its ass just slammed into a guy because that's a very large animal. It doesn't have to do much to knock you on your ass. But yeah, there's some good Brazilian jiu-jitsu in this sequence. A lot of grappling, a lot of people getting judo tossed onto their backs, a lot of joint locks and stuff. I don't think Keanu throws a single punch in these movies. It's all chops, which falls in line with jiu-jitsu, where it's like palm strikes and chops and stuff. But yeah, he does a lot of throat chops and a lot of kicks to the balls.
Weak spots. Find the weak spots.
Yeah. The way he exits the stables is, I think he knocks a fella down and he hops on a horse and he ties the fella's ankle to the horse. And the horse drags this fella into some crates because you got to have some crates for people to fly into in an action movie. It's like red barrels in a video game. It's like you need red barrels that explode when you shoot them.
It's interesting you say he never punches anybody because if you think about it, a guy in his situation, it wouldn't be wise to start punching people because all you need is just one miscalculated punch and you could really fuck up your wrist. And he's got more people to punch. He's like, I don't have time to be macho here. I need results, nuts and throat.
No, I think. These movies actually are very largely responsible, I think, for creating like a new brand of fight choreography that's heavily based in practical techniques. Because he doesn't do flashy kicks or fanciful moves of any kind. It's all just kind of like get it done quick. In fact, like the way a lot of these scenes are choreographed is beautiful to watch, if not sometimes frustrating for me, because it's essentially like it's a series of money shots essentially, where it's just like a person steps up, they're killed in a creative way. There's no like progression to the kill. It's just kind of boom, dead, boom, dead. I don't know if you've ever seen Tom Yum-goong.
Probably not.
It's a Thai movie. It's a Tony Jaa movie. There's a scene in there that is at least 3 minutes long, maybe 5, of just people running at him and him breaking one of their limbs or all of their limbs. And it goes on and on and on and on. And that's kind of the philosophy, I guess, they applied to the John Wick style. But yeah, he exits the stables. We get some horse action through downtown New York. It's kind of cool. Actually, one of the other movies we did for Catching Up on Keanu Month, which I'm not sure what order we'll be posting these, was 47 Ronin, which has some sequences of Keanu on horseback, so I'm guessing he retained some of that knowledge for this film. And then, does he get to Angelica Houston?
Not yet. I think we have to... He's getting to Angelica Houston, but we also get introduced to... Yeah, I'm sorry, he does get to Angelica Houston. So, yeah, he walks into a Russian stereotype. Angelica Houston he walks in and there's these, Russian goons. He lays down his gold. He doesn't have any weapons with him, I don't think. And the guy's like, lay down your belt, too. And he's like, fuck, okay. First, they're not going to admit him, but he's got all of his gear. He's carrying a cross, a crucifix, a rosary, if you will. And he takes that with him, and we cut to a girl doing a ballet practice, it looks like. She's up on a stage, and she's doing her twirls, and she falls, and there seems to be somebody watching in the audience, just one person, and it's Angelica Houston. She's like, again! Like, get up there and do it again. So he comes up and starts talking to her, and she's like, all right. Like, she's like, there's a history here. We're not sure. I'm not quite sure what it is, but she's like, "Oh, you're home." He's like, "I'm back," or whatever. And they are going to go have a chat, and they go through this place. There's some kids. There's like little girls getting ready to do some ballet exercises, some more ballet. Some kids doing. They're doing what I thought was freestyle. This is freestyle wrestling, but I'm assuming they're practicing throws for jiu-jitsu. I'm assuming jiu-jitsu has throws as well.
I mean, those Eastern Bloc states had a lot of their own systems. Like
these guys are. This is freestyle wrestling. They're doing a lot of throws, a lot of slams, a lot of fun. This is. I dabbled in some freestyle for just in like the summertime to kind of stay in shape a little bit. It's a lot of fun. You got to know what you're doing, otherwise you're going to get the wind knocked out of you quite. But these kids are good.
No, I mean, there's some takedowns there that are snappy.
Brilliant. Just beautifully executed.
Yeah, go ahead. I was just going to say, what I understand the history to be between these two is I think he's supposed to be Belarusian, and her too. Because he, in a different language, which I would assume is Belarusian, says, like, we're part of the same tribe. Like, we're from the same people, and this is why you owe me this debt. You're supposed to take care of your own.
Yeah.
And she keeps calling him, I think it's Jordani?
Yeah.
Jordani, like Jovanovic or something. Jovanovic or something. So I guess that's his birth name. And what I got from this is she actually like looks over her shoulder as she's leading him through these rooms with all these young people training and says, like, does this remind you of anything, like bring back memories or anything?
Yeah.
So my guess is he came through this system.
Yeah.
Like he was raised to be tough in this way. And we get some chilling images here. Like Angelica Houston is prattling on about how life is suffering and art comes through suffering. And then we get like a close up of one of the ballerinas like pulling off their toenail.
Yeah, we got a response in my theater. I don't know about yours.
I mean, the people sitting next to me, my friends, were like, oh, like genuine ugh.
There's a guy in my row who was super squeamish. I thought he was going to have to excuse himself because he covered his mouth like he was going to vomit. He was not doing well in the first part of this movie.
Well, I mean, eye trauma followed by foot stuff.
Yeah.
That's bound to upset somebody. That's a lot. But yeah, it's my understanding that like this is probably how he came to be what he is. It's an assumption. They don't go into detail. But he sits down and has an audience with her and exchanges the rosary in exchange for safe passage elsewhere.
Yeah.
And where does he want to go? Morocco?
Casablanca.
Yeah, Morocco. And he gets the first of many mutilations visited upon him in the sequence. So part of the ritual, and there's all three of these movies need to be credited for like creating like a universe that feels lived in. Like a lot of the trinkets and like rituals that all these people in this Assassin's Guild have. It feels much more thought out than it probably is because the way the exposition is all delivered, they don't hold your hand. They just talk about things as if like, oh, surely you knew about this. It's like, no, actually, in 3 movies, this is the first time you're bringing it up, but, thanks. So she takes the rosary and hands it to her like buddy, like her right-hand man, and he sticks it in the fireplace and brands Keanu on his spine with the cross. So first of many mutilations that he'll undergo in this film. And then he gets to Casablanca. But meanwhile, there's some shenanigans going on in New York that are happening because of his actions, because of him having killed a member of the High Table, that Italian fellow who was the bad guy in the second one.
Yeah, they have this lady. I don't know who she is. I know she's in Orange is the New Black. That's the only thing I know of. I don't know why she has such a long name in this. I still can't pronounce it. Adjudicator?
Adjudicator. Yeah.
Adjudicator. She's just known as the Adjudicator. I thought she was terrible. I did not like this. I didn't like her performance. The character, I get what they were going for, but she just was not buying it. I did not think she did a very good job, personally. Sorry.
Their name is Asia Kate Dillon, and you better be careful, Kyle, because they are non-binary.
Oh, that's fine.
But yeah, this was actually my first time seeing them at all. Like, I don't even have Orange is the New Black to work from for a framework. And yeah, I wasn't terribly impressed either. Something about their delivery, it was just kind of like, I need a little more, maybe, or maybe a little less, actually. Because the entire concept of the character is that they're essentially, the reason why they don't have a name, the reason why they only have a title, is because that's exactly what they are. They have no personality other than being maybe a little bit catty. Other than that, they're just there to process the laws of the guild. They're just there to literally adjudicate.
She's just eye acting. Like that's it. She's just supposed to be robotic. Yeah, that's what you're saying. She's one-dimensional, and she's just eye acting, and it's just...
I get it, but it's like... I don't know. I either needed, like, way over the top, or, like, robotic to the point of, like, oh, shit, like, are you a person? Like think, Ex Machina or something. Like, that kind of style.
I was thinking, like, a better character like this is the lady from Blade Runner 2049.
The prostitute?
No, the other one. The one that fucks up Jenny. The lady with the black hair. The one that works for... Like,
she was scary.
She's supposed to be kind of one-dimensional like that. She's just supposed to get shit done. And that actress does a much better job at that role. That's kind of what I was seeing her as.
I get where you're coming from. I think we both agree that it's like didn't quite work, but you know, it's a small part in a very fast moving, like packed to the gills with action kind of movie. So it's like, I can forgive that.
Basically, yeah, she's coming to the Continental to tell Ian McShane that he's going to have to step down in 7 days because he allowed. It's not that he allowed a murder at the Continental; it's that he didn't punish the person appropriately, as he's supposed to. And they're like, "Well, you're going to have to step down." He's like, "Oh," and you can see his wheels turn, and he's just like, "All right, well, enjoy your stay at the Continental." Okay.
Yeah, she's actually staying there, but what this is supposed to clue us in on, the audience, is that there are tiers to this organization, and we're starting to see like the upper tiers of it. We're starting to see that not even Ian McShane, who owns the Continental and was shown to be like infinitely powerful in the first film, significantly less in the second one, and now in the third one he seems like kind of an afterthought, where it's like, oh, okay, things are much bigger than we thought. And her second stop, though, is to pay a visit to the Bowery King, played by one Lawrence Fishburne, who was... Oh, yeah, he's in Larry mode in this. Like, and I loved it. He was great.
Well, that was his name in Apocalypse Now. He was credited as Larry Fishburne.
Mm-hmm. Early in his career, he went by Larry. I think in his Cowboy Curtis days, he was Larry. That hair, man. That Jerry curl.
That was funny.
But the Bowery King was introduced to us in the second film. And there's a running theme from basically throughout all these movies where John Wick has friends. Everybody operates within this organization, but everybody also has like personal relationships. And the entirety of this movie is basically running to his friends and asking for help, like a series of stops along the way, essentially. And the second film, in an act of desperation, he sought out Lawrence Fishburne, the Bowery King, who's essentially King Hobo of New York. He has a network of hobos, armed hobos, an entire army, in fact. And the adjudicator pays him a visit and essentially gives him the same business, where it's like, we know what you did. You helped John Wick. You supplied John Wick with a gun, knowing full well that he was going to go kill somebody who he was not allowed to kill. And for that, you will be punished in 7 days. And Larry Fishburne just kind of like laughs it off, but later on we get some actual consequences. And I'm a little fuzzy on the sequencing here, but is this when she goes to pick up Mark Dacascos?
No, we get to Casablanca first.
Okay.
Yeah. Keanu gets to Casablanca, and he meets up with Halle Berry's. And she, I guess, she has her own, similar to the Continental, she's got her own gig there. I'm not really sure what she's doing. She's just kind of in a room with some dogs. I didn't like her acting in this scene.
I did. I gave her some credit. When she declares that she's fucked, I believed it, because I think she was also in her mind, her acting method was referencing her own career.
Yeah, I can see where you're going.
No, because a lot of it I was just kind of like tuning it out. Like, okay, I heard this before. She has some business where she has a daughter that she's not allowed to see, because if she does, then the organization will find her and cause problems for her. But when she gets to the end of that spiel, and she's like, and this is why you're here talking to me, and this is why I'm stuck in Morocco, and this is why I'm fucked. And I was like, oh, I think I believe you. Just for that one instance. The rest of it, in one ear, out the other. But that last part I got.
Then again, they're also portraying a world that I have no idea what it's like to live in. I mean, she shoots him. She's like, you shot me. Or she's like, he says something. She's like, oh, you tried to kill me. He's like, no, I just shot you, or something like that. And then they have he's just talking quiet, but she's having like quick snippets of, oh, you fucker, I don't want to help you. I guess I gotta fucking help you, or something like that. And essentially, yeah, she's gonna help him.
The main takeaway here is that the marker that he retrieved at the library was marked with her blood. Yeah. Because he helped her out. I'm guessing he helped her get her daughter out of the country or something.
Probably. That's a big deal.
So basically, she owes him a literal blood debt, which is why he tries to reason with her, but that's a big reason as to why she actually agrees to help him. And so he's requesting an audience with somebody who you would know, and one of the people sitting next to me in the theater definitely knew. Correct. But I did not.
Yes. I don't know the dude's name. He plays Braun on Game of Thrones. He's a reoccurring character. He was an assassin. His name is Jeremy Flynn. He's in the last episode, and he finally earned his place in the world. It was kind of funny to see. He was also used to date the lady who plays Cersei, Lena Headey. Apparently they were not allowed. They couldn't be on set at the same time. Apparently they had a bad breakup and they weren't around each other at all. So yeah, he's playing an asshole. He tells them listen, he's like, I want an audience with your boss, and basically the head of the high table, who they're trying to get to, and he's just like, I can't do that. I mean, I might be able to, but I probably can't. But I might.
Yeah, this conversation went a lot of weird ways. It was like, I don't know if you're saying anything at all, but you keep talking.
Every conversation he has is like, I can't do that. I might be able to do that. I think I'll do that for you.
It's very frustrating.
It's very frustrating. But yeah, he tells them, like, listen, it's pretty hopeless. This is the best I can do. What I can do is you can walk through the desert, and you can keep walking in the desert till you're about to die. And then when you think you're about to die, just keep walking. And then maybe the guy will see you. Just maybe.
Yeah.
And they're about to leave, and he's like, well, wait a second. Now, I don't think you were paying attention. And he's like, come in here. I need something in return. And they show him petting the dog before, and he's like, I really like this dog. And Halle Berry's like, no, you cannot have my dog. He's like, really? I mean, I really like this dog. And she's like, no, you can't have him. He's like, okay. So he shoots the fucking dog. And I'm like, you've got to be, like, the whole audience was just gasp. But we find out that the dogs actually have, I guess, armored, like an armored vest on, and it actually
both. There's two dogs. What breed are these, by the
way? These are
Malamutes,
Malinois, Belgian shepherds, basically.
Okay, they're gorgeous.
They're great dogs. I've seen some videos of these dogs before I watched this movie. They are incredible. They are the top tier police dogs. I think they're a little lighter than German Shepherds, and they have an incredible bite, and they can jump. As you can see in this movie, I don't know how much of this was CGI dog and legit trained dogs. I think a lot of this was legit trained dog.
I think you're right. But yeah, the folks that I saw the movie with were all of them dog people, and when that dog got shot, they were not having it.
They show his eyes. That was
It flops over on its side. Like it's a CGI dog that falls over. Like I could tell anyway. But yeah, the people with me were just like, no, like they jumped in their seats and were very upset in that moment. Pretty traumatic for the people I was with. I was just like, whatever. But that's me. I'm a terrible person, I know.
So you pissed off Halle Berry's, and now she just looks at him like, it's on, dude. And they just start killing people. She shoots him in the dick, I think. Or she shoots him in the dick. And the dogs just go berserker.
Keanu gives her a please don't. But he
knows. He knows what's up.
Yeah, he knows what's up. Like literally, he had a puppy die. A puppy dying was the entire reason this franchise exists. But big shootout. And yeah, that fella, the guy who plays Braun, I think he gets shot twice in the legs, and then the dog goes for the nuts.
She shoots him in the dick, I think, and then the dog goes for it, and then she shoots him in the leg. I think the dog is like working on those nuts.
He gets double dicked. I don't know that he dies. I'm assuming he bleeds out, but it's not confirmed because it doesn't happen on camera.
No, it's not confirmed, and I thought he was actually going to come back later because they didn't kill him on screen, but he actually doesn't. This is his only...
Well, keep that in mind because that's a huge part of this franchise. This shootout, like you said, pretty entertaining. It goes on and on and on and on
for a really long time.
Very well choreographed. All of these movies have what I like to call like shooting gallery sequences, where it essentially feels like somebody going through a target range and just a putty shows up and they shoot him. A putty shows up and they shoot him.
It's not like a video game.
Yeah, actually, I think video games and this franchise kind of go hand in hand. Like there's a lot of imagery, a lot of camera angles even seem directly lifted from video games. And yeah, it definitely feels like it choreographed in the style of somebody playing a video game, but really skillful choreography in that we keep cutting back like seamlessly between Keanu and Halle Berry, like taking out a whole crowd of people. Good use of the location. And then the dogs. So the two dogs are running in and out of the scene, taking people down, and pretty much like clockwork, every time somebody gets taken down by a dog, either Halle Berry or Keanu Reeves walks up and pops the fella in the head. And it just keeps playing out over and over and over again, to the point that it did get a little bit repetitive. Although it is very satisfying watching these dogs
fuck
move.
people up. Yeah,
they fuck people up. Yeah,
it's really incredible. I don't know how much they had, like with these. I mean, the dogs are running around biting people. It's just a symphony of gunshots and shrieks. And I'm wondering how well the dogs did, if they were using when they were shooting on set. Were they using blanks, and was it actually loud while they were doing it? And the dogs are still doing this stuff. It was really neat. But I forgot to mention, before we actually get to this gunfight, the adjudicator does visit Mark Dacascos.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Mark Dacascos, if you're not familiar, maybe most prominent role to mainstream audiences, I guess, would be as the chairman on Iron Chef America. He is a very prolific martial arts actor. He's been working for decades, but he just never really hit the big time. He's always been very skillful, always very charismatic, but I don't know. Like, he just never took off. I actually have a movie on my shelf called Drive, not the Ryan Gosling one, that came out the same year as Rush Hour, and it just happens to be Asian man and black guy buddy cop movie.
Gotcha.
It's like maybe his best performance, if you ask me, and it just shows every talent that he has. He's very charismatic in this movie.
Oh yeah.
He's funny, genuinely funny.
I thought it was like a legit Japanese dude, like doing this. I didn't recognize him at first, and then when he started talking, I'm like, okay, that guy looks familiar now. But basically, she hires him as to track down John Wick and kill him, and he's got some dudes with him as well.
Yeah, he's got his he's got his Foot Clan guys basically. So him and the Foot are like her or their I guess their tool for carrying out the orders of the High Table. So all those threats that the adjudicator made earlier in the movie, Mark Dacascos and his Foot Clan are the ones to carry them out.
Yeah, these guys were a good addition to the movie. After the shootout in Casablanca, she actually talked to Zero. His name is Zero in the movie. She talked to them before this, but they get to the theater where Morticia is doing the ballet thing. Now we have a full-on ballet practice. There's just one beefcake, and he's just kind of helping.
This might be the most Russian thing I've ever seen. Like, the music has that like Trans-Siberian Orchestra feel to it, where it's like metal but with an orchestra.
Yeah.
And then there's ballet going on in like a gaudy theater. It's like, damn.
and these dudes just appear. Like, she's just watching, and these guys just appear in the background, and she stops the ballet. The adjudicator's there. She basically tells the dudes the same, like, she tells her the same thing she told the dudes, like, you helped John Wick. Now you have to do something.
You need to show fealty.
Yeah.
That's a phrase that comes up multiple times in the movie.
She tells them to say their oath or whatever, and for her
I have served, I will serve, I guess.
Yeah, she puts her hands together like she's about to pray, and they just stab her through both hands.
Yeah, they give her the stigmata.
I guess that's her punishment. I'm like, that's not that bad. I mean, it sucks, but I mean, that could have been worse.
Yeah, so that's her punishment.
That's her punishment.
Larry Fishburne's punishment is a little bit more severe.
Yeah.
He tries to like laugh it off as not that big a deal. And by the way, almost every, I think literally every visit that Zero and his goons make to all these places, they end up slicing and dicing quite a few people on the way. Yeah. So a lot of dead hobos. I
was gonna say before we get to the Bowery King, John gets to the desert and he gets his blood on the thing. Like
So following the shootout with Halle Berry, she drives him off into the desert, and like to a T. I guess his plan is to do what that Braun fella had told him to do: go walk in the desert. I don't know that I would trust that, because that all sounded very vague and suspect. But
yeah. He's like, you did that seriously.
Yeah, and she kind of she's pretty salty about the whole thing, because I don't know that she thinks her chances of surviving the next couple of days are very high.
I mean, she's got those dogs. She should be fine.
Yeah, she sends him on his way into the desert alone. He does indeed pass out. But then he's picked up by a fellow with a camel, and then he wakes up in a tent. And there's a... I don't know this guy's name. I can't pronounce this guy's name.
He is the guy that tortures Mark Wahlberg in Three Kings. Syed Tagmawi?
Oh.
Yeah, I think so.
I believe he is... I know he speaks French, so that would make me suspect that he actually is Moroccan.
He is from France, of Moroccan.
Yeah, he was in the G.I. Joe movie. And,
that's what I remember seeing a scene. Like, I wasn't sure what the movie was, but he popped up, and I'm like, oh, that's that guy.
Yeah, he's in the G.I. Joe movie and Wonder Woman as one of her buddies.
No, you're right. I'm sorry, not G.I. Joe. It was Wonder Woman. That's what it was. Sorry.
Okay. But yeah, I believe he is actually Moroccan. But
he
he plays a character by the name of the Elder, and he's not a very old guy as far as I can tell. But this character bothered me because I didn't really get it. Like, this character is spoken of as being above the high table, which, by the way, we've never seen, and we don't understand how it works. But now we're being introduced to somebody who's apparently above that, and he lives in the desert and apparently knows everything that happens in the desert, because the chances of him finding a random guy that passed out in the desert are very slim to none. So it's all very hazy, and I'm not entirely sure how this all works, but apparently this character, whatever he says goes. So he and John Wick have a conversation, and if I'm remembering right, he's basically telling John Wick that he asks him what he wants, because even us, the audience, we're not entirely sure. Like, he's just been running and killing throughout all these movies.
Yeah.
And he explains that he's sad, that he misses his wife, and he wants to continue living to preserve that feeling, like, of love, I guess. Like, he wants to hold on to that memory, and the only way he can know that he can do that is if he stays alive, because he doesn't have any guarantees in death. So that's his objective, is just stay alive no matter what. So the Elder makes him a proposition, says, I can let you back into the organization. You'll continue to serve as you did. So you'll just become you'll become an instrument of death. So you won't get to go back to, that good time in your life when you're just living happily with your wife. You'll have to go back to just being a killing machine. But you'll have to do something for me. Oh, yeah, and by the way, you also have to pay tribute. And surprisingly, John Wick's like, okay, I'll do it. So he now has a mission where he has to go kill Winston, Ian McShane, the head of the Continental. But before doing that, he has to pay tribute by cutting off one of his fingers.
Yeah, they go.
And very, very symbolically, it's his ring finger with his wedding ring on it. And he does the Yakuza deal, not very efficiently. He doesn't tie it off or anything, as far as I remember. And he cuts off his ring finger and hands both the finger and the wedding ring to the Elder. Elder pockets the wedding ring, which is a funny little detail. It's like, dang, that's cold. Like, right in front of the guy, you're just going to pocket that shit? And then, finally, John Wick gets a bath. Like, man, he must have stunk.
Do they let him sleep? Do they feed him or something? Good God.
I think so. They give him a new suit, and there's like a hot bath waiting for him in a tent nearby. We don't get a Keanu bathing scene, but this whole time up until now, it's all been playing out like very briskly, and he hasn't had any downtime, and he's still covered in blood and scars and stuff. It's like, man, just can this guy get a bath or a shower or something?
He's been sprint fighting for the past 48 hours, I'd say. 24, something like that, somewhere around there. Because I'm not
I mean, the second movie.
Yeah, exactly.
The entire second movie, in addition to the first half of this one.
There's a really funny, really bad joke on It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. They're going to get Dennis and Dee are going to go get into shape. They're going to go to the gym, and he's like, I don't want to get too bulky. You know, I want to get like that lean, like Jesus on the cross body. And Dee goes, oh, I bet that crucifixion was just great for your core. I wonder like how good a shape he's going to be. Like he could probably, I'd say, run a marathon. Like give him like a week of rest. I think he could bust out a marathon after this is all over with.
Yeah, well, I mean, it wouldn't be a pretty marathon, though, because as we've seen in other movies, Keanu does not have a good run.
No.
And this one especially. No, but I mean, in real life, like, I don't think he has a pretty run. Like,
no.
maybe he's fast. I can't tell, but he just has bad form.
I don't know, he hurt his knee in Point Break in the movie. I don't know about in real life, but...
Well, I mean, we've seen it in other movies, too. He did not go to the Tom Cruise school of running. Put it that way.
Yeah.
So then the Bowery King? Is that where we're at?
The Bowery King was before this. It was right before the cutting off of the finger. The ninjas. This is where the ninjas come through, and they're getting to Lawrence Fishburne, and they are fucking people up, quiet, like sneakily. Like there's several instances where these guys just went, "Oh shit, he was hiding up there," or he just come out of the shadows.
On top of the lockers was pretty funny.
Awesome.
Where he stabs the guy on top of the head, just like poke.
Really cool. Then he goes back up there, like he stabs the dude in the head, then he hides back up there and waits, and then they move along.
They do some clever stuff with that, where it's like, oh shit, that guy was hiding in plain sight, and even I didn't notice.
I liked Lawrence Fishburne's performances. I liked his character in this. He gets a little bit more screen time, but I like his character, and
I do too.
He basically tells her, he's like, I'm not stepping down. There's not going to be another Bowery King. I am the king. And he sends a pigeon. I did like his little thing about the pigeon. She's like, tell somebody else to watch your stupid pigeon. He's like, oh, these guys are great. You can't track them. That's the greatest way to send information. You don't know what's happening. Like no one can track it. But basically, his punishment is that he's going to get, what's the significance of 7?
7 bullets.
Okay, so he gave John Wick 7 bullets, so he has to get 7 cuts, and they slice him.
Yeah,
pretty quick.
Mark Dacascos slices and dices pretty nastily, and he falls down face first, and a big pool of blood forms, and it's pretty severe.
We should mention Mark Dacascos' character Zero. So when she first talks to Zero, he's at a sushi restaurant, and he's making a blowfish sashimi. And
fugu.
He's like very poisoned. At first, he's just very nice and very friendly. Like, hi, how's it going? Like, kind of playing it up a little bit. And then once he realizes who she is, he drops that, and his demeanor changes. He gets a little more macho. And then you see him, like, through these scenes, kind of fucking people up. So you're like, okay, this guy's no fucking joke. And then we get to him with the Bowery King. But his demeanor's going to change later, that's the only reason why I'm mentioning that. Just the way his character kind of changes.
Well, it's important to note, because, like, one thing that you notice in the flow of the sequences where he and his boys are running through people, like literally just like running through people. He's a showman. Like he does the flashy moves that John Wick does not. And more importantly, he has an entourage. He's the last guy to show up. He finishes people. He doesn't start the fight. He finishes the fight. So a lot of times his boys will rough somebody up, and then he'll step in and deliver the finishing blow. And it translates to almost every action scene he's in this movie. So it's just a stylistic difference that kind of puts him at the opposite end of John Wick, who's pretty much always alone, except for a couple exceptions in the entire franchise. But at this point, John Wick is on his way back to New York to kill Winston, his friend. But it's what he's got to do. And then I think I was a little confused as to his status, because it was my understanding that by being brought back into the organization, all was forgiven.
Yeah,
like the contract was up. But it seems like that's not entirely the case, because the ninjas, Mark Dacascos and his goons, are after him.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. I think that guy might be on the same level, like, as the adjudicator, maybe. Like, she has just as much power as the guy in the desert. Like, he's not the top, but he's way up there. Like,
well, Keanu refers to him as the man who sits above the high table, and the adjudicator's mission is to carry out the will of the high table. So in my mind, I would put him above. But then again, Keanu hasn't actually carried out the task that was appointed to him, so maybe until he does that, all is fair game.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is. We can assume that. But
whatever.
No, yeah, we get to this scene.
Train station.
He straight up slits a dude's throat in the train station. Nobody says anything. Like nobody even passing by even acknowledges it. If this is how New York is, I kind of want to move there because it just seems great. Like nobody is paying attention to anything. Look down. Don't ask questions. It's probably somebody playing a joke with a camera trying to get a rise out of us. Just keep walking.
Well, there's a movie called Q, the Winged Serpent, where it's about Quetzalcoatl actually arriving in New York and killing people. So it's like a giant bird monster. And the joke is that apparently no one in New York ever looks up. So this monster keeps picking people off because like they never bother to look up. It's in downtown New York. But yeah, we got a fun exchange here between Mark Dacascos and Keanu Reeves, where like a bunch of school children pass between them when they're brandishing knives at each other. And Mark Dacascos is like, that's why you're one of the good ones, because, I actually wouldn't have stopped. like I would have run straight through each and every one of these fucking kids.
Yeah,
but,
I was going to say, he escapes the train station. He escapes from this exchange and hops on a bike.
Dude, the way he hops on that bike, that fucking flying dive he does to knock the first person off the motorcycle.
Yeah,
that was nuts.
That was
like
cool.
Straight from the fucking door, just like. Blah!
Yeah, that was pretty cool. He walks slowly out the door, then he starts to run a little bit and knocks a dude off.
He just goes flying at him.
It was pretty cool. He gets on a motorcycle, and I liked this. I don't usually care for chase sequences in movies. It doesn't do anything for me. I'm like, okay, this is just more runtime. I actually really enjoyed this. I thought this was pretty cool. The motorcycle.
This was pretty cool. It's maybe the most transparently like CGI assisted sequence in the entirety of the franchise. 'Cause motorcycle stunts are scary. Like you have to do them a certain way. So a lot of this stuff was done for real, but then a lot of it is done using a technique I've seen in other movies where essentially it's like a bolted down motorcycle that's being carried in the bed of a truck, and then they composite the background to make it look like they're actually driving the motorcycle when in actuality it's perfectly stable.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a I'm sorry, but some of the pulled out shots I could not help but think of Akira. Motorcycle fight, you know, and then like the lighting in this movie we haven't talked about, but a lot of fluorescence and colored lighting. It's really cheap stuff, but very impactful in the way it influences the look and the feel of the movie. So lots of LED strips, lots of fluorescent tubes everywhere, lots of colors. This entire scene is like bathed in green when they're in the tunnel and stuff. Reminded me a lot of this Korean movie that came out a couple years ago called The Villainous, that has a couple of like first person and like shot mostly on GoPro action sequences, one of which happens on a motorcycle. I would not be surprised if the filmmakers were influenced by that movie, especially since it like made all the money in Korea. but yeah, this was a pretty cool scene, and the way everybody's brandishing swords on motorcycles. It's pretty cool. And that one beat where the dude's, I think he gets his like forearm sliced off, and then his jacket gets caught in the spoke of his motorcycle, and he goes flipping. It's like Indiana Jones in The Last Crusade dialed up to 11. It's pretty spectacular. Like the impact is like, ooh.
I don't know. I think the one in Indiana Jones was really good because I remember that one because he just
the comedy in that sequence was perfect because you see like Indy look over and then like look again and he's like and then he throws it in, and then the icing on the cake though, the cherry on top is the aftermath, where Indy's like laughing to himself and he looks over to his dad and his dad's just like
not impressed.
Junior. But yeah, the motorcycle sequence comes to a close when Mark Dacascos chases Keanu. They both take a fucking header off the bikes. But then Keanu places one palm on the front step of the Continental, which of course is like hallowed ground. We do not fight on hallowed ground.
No.
And the fighting has to come to a close because now Mark Dacascos is disallowed from spilling blood on Continental grounds. Lance Reddick is a fixture in all of these movies. He gets to do more in this one, which is kind of cool.
Quite a bit more, yes.
He's the concierge, I guess, of the hotel.
Yeah, you could say that.
He's at the front door and he's like, "Cut the shit, guys." And then Keanu asks for an audience with Ian McShane, and in the meantime, he's placed in a waiting room with Mark Dacascos. Yeah. And when he sits down next to him, that was pretty fucking funny.
We had a good laugh at that at our theater.
But
then he's sitting there, and Mark Dacascos, like, it looks like he's gonna say something real, like he's just gonna stare at him, and he's just like, "I gotta say, man, I'm a huge fan." He just fanboys out on him. He's just super excited to sit next to him, or like just sit there and talk to him. His dog comes out. It was really cute. He's just basically, it's funny. He's just sitting there talking to him, and the dog is just licking John's face, and he's just not even acknowledging him. The dog's just going to town, and it was just kind of nice. But he goes in to see Ian McShane.
Yeah. This was another strange little exchange where this is like one of the coolest sets I've seen in recent years. This glass room.
Yeah.
We did a Hall of Mirrors at the conclusion of the second film as well. However, I think it's maybe a little bit better executed in this one. Kind of arguable though, because that second one is very striking from a visual standpoint. That Hall of Mirrors sequence.
I don't remember.
But what they do with the space, I think, is better in this one. Anyways, this really elaborate, like 2-story, maybe even 3-story set. It's a series of glass. It's 13 ghosts. It's the 13 Ghosts room. And Ian McShane's just hanging out, and he knows why Keanu's there, but he challenges his motives. He's like, "Do you really want to live? Do you really want to be like a killing machine, like just for the sake of existing? Like, do you really want to exist just to exist?" And Keanu doesn't really. I don't know. They go back and forth. It's a little hazy what their motives are here.
He changes his mind almost immediately. Like, the whole reason he got all the way out in the desert, cut off a finger so he could live and come back here, and he's just like, it took a conversation. Not even a conversation. A few sentences. And Ian McShane basically flips him.
Yeah. The adjudicator comes down the stairs and is like, "So are you going to kill him?" And Keanu's like, No. And so it's decided right then and there that Ian McShane and Winston and John Wick are going to stand in opposition of the high table. So the adjudicator pulls out a flip phone and says, "Hey, Continental is what? Deconsecrated, I think is the term they use. So it's basically excommunicado, but for an entire building and all the people therein."
Yeah.
And this is where the title of the film comes from. It's a very awkward title, John Wick Chapter 3, Parabellum. But Parabellum, I believe, means prepare for war.
Sure.
And that's essentially what the end of this movie is. It's a very small-scale war. So it becomes like a siege movie, kind of, where basically the high table forces are invading the hotel. The high table forces, as represented by people in SWAT gear, faceless people in SWAT gear, basically.
Super SWAT gear.
Super SWAT people, because they're armored to the tits.
There's some more gun porn here. They get into like a gun panic room, I guess is what you'd call it.
It's like a bank vault, but filled with guns and booze.
Ian McShane's got a nice, sexy couch he's sitting on with a sifter of brandy, and the chair. I think his name's Sharon, the concierge. He's gearing up, and John. They're just getting all kinds of bullets and stuff, and they're gonna head out and beat some ass. What's her name? What's their name again? The adjudicator. There we go.
Yeah.
She's like, yeah, well, we're gonna be, accompanied by the Round Table's finest, and it's just a bunch of dudes in SWAT gear with with guns, when they start shooting at these guys and it's not really doing anything, the bullets are more or less bouncing off. I'm like, what the fuck? That kind of... I'm like, we're going to get some fun gun fu. I'm like, not that easy.
Not quite.
Not quite. But basically they start shooting at these guys, and Ian McShane, the concierge, has some guys, but they're all in just suits, and they think this is just your standard, we're going to shoot each other. Now, those guys are pretty much taken out immediately.
Oh yeah, no, they go down quick and easy. They're like the SWAT team in Die Hard. It's just like, yeah. Oh, I love that when he hits the prickler bush.
I think that
was perfect.
I for some reason I think that was real. I think that was the actor walking by and actually got pricked. Like, we're gonna keep that. That was funny.
Like, in terms of editing, though, it works so well though, because it's like foreshadowing. It's like, oh, these guys are pansies.
One of the best scenes in that movie. Who's the Asian fella? You know exactly.
Al Young.
Yes, when he's all geared up and he looks down, and he's like, all right, and he just starts grabbing. I loved it.
No, it's great.
That's how you get candy as an adult. You look at it and you're like, no.
I do have access to candy.
I do have access. I'm an adult.
It's a cookie before dinner?
He had a few candy bars. I think he grabbed a Crunch bar first, then he's working on a Mars bar after that.
But, it's a long night, man.
Yeah. Just swooned them. But yeah, so John finds the weak point at the neck, so he starts, fighting some dudes, shooting them in the throat. And this is kind of taken by surprise. They go back, like they just kind of like knock on the door, and Ian McShane just opens it up with this little remote. They come
oh my god, this was maybe the biggest laugh I got in the movie. I got like 3 of them in a row from Ian McShane, because Keanu comes in and he's huffy, but Lance Reddick, he comes in, he doesn't say a fucking word. He's
mad.
He's pissed. He walks straight to the back and grabs a new gun. He doesn't say a fucking word. Keanu's like, I need better guns. And Ian McShane is so beautiful. He doesn't say a word. He just puts his hands up and is like, I mean, we have guns.
We have the guns.
But it's so beautiful because he doesn't say anything, and he has this, he has so much booze. Yeah, he's just a fucking lush.
I mean, this is bigger than a wine glass, and if this were a wine glass, this would be a lot. Like, this is nearly half a fifth of brandy that he's sipping on.
Yeah, but he made me laugh so hard in this scene because they're like grabbing new guns and they're loading them up and they're getting ready to go out there, and he doesn't move. He just sits on the couch and keeps sipping his booze. And even when it comes time to close the door, they don't shut it. He just clicks a remote.
Yeah, but they get some armor-piercing bullets. Unfortunately, it's in shotgun form, which I think made these sequences a little bit more fun because he has to shoot, fight, and reload because they can only hold about... Most shotguns can hold about 5 shells. I think these hold about 5 or 6.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like the shotgun sequence. When he gets that first shot off, I mean, the dude's head is gone. Like these were there's like mini explosives in these.
I mean, this is like video game logic again, where it's just like if you're playing Doom or something and you get the shotgun, this is the effect you expect when somebody gets shot. It's like I don't think it's realistic at all, but it's what we're programmed to expect, and it's very satisfying.
And now they're doing some work on these guys, and the adjudicator calls Ian McShane. She says we could she gets two words out, and then he just hangs up the phone. And they were taken aback. Yeah,
he's a little bit catty.
I enjoyed that.
No, he's great.
Yeah, they're still fucking people up with the shotguns, and I think they call him back and ask for a parlay.
Not just yet. We get the final fisticuffs.
Oh God, this was like 10 minutes long. I think this whole sequence, it is crazy long.
Yeah. So after the second wave, where we have the shotguns with the armor-piercing rounds, the final step in this climactic battle is, of course, Mark Dacascos and his ninja troupe. And we head back to the glass room, because if we're going to do martial arts, I mean, the glass room is where we do it. So Keanu heads in there alone. Lance Reddick, I think, heads back to hang out with Ian McShane, because, I mean, that's what I'd want to do. And we get, a first wave of ninjas fighting Keanu, and
Okay.
it's funny because they're kind of beating his ass.
We get two nerds who are beating the shit out of him.
Yeah, but then the swords come out and they kind of fuck themselves because the rule of thumb with John Wick is if he grabs you, he's either going to take whatever it is you're trying to kill him with and use it against you, or at least take it away from you. So if they had just stayed barehanded and kept kicking him, I think they'd be fine. Because they put him through every piece of glass in the room.
Yeah, it was like Dewey Cox ripping the sinks off. Like they're just.
Oh no! Like
kicking him.
I don't know if Keanu did each and every one of those glass gags in one take because it was shot in one take.
It felt like it, yeah.
I mean, I couldn't see his face clearly, so I don't know, but I think he did that, and that was pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, the fight with these two dudes, it was fine. It was whatever.
There's a pretty good throat slash in there.
Was there?
One of the blades gets caught in a wall, and it's like just stuck in the wall, and Keanu just like throws the guy's throat into it. It's pretty tasty.
Yeah, I remember that now.
But the main event is the two guys from earlier.
Yeah.
It's Sisep Arif Rahman and Yayan Ruhian.
Are they Thai?
They are Indonesian.
Sorry.
They're from the Raid films. Sisep from the second one. Maybe one of the very best one-on-one fight sequences I've ever seen committed to film. So these two are amazing.
Tremendous.
So,
they're tremendous.
So, again, reference to The Simpsons, there's a gag where the Yakuza are fighting the Mafia on the Simpsons' front lawn, and Homer's complaining because he's being told he needs to go inside, but there's this little Asian guy who's standing with his arms folded, and he hasn't done anything yet, and he's like, it's gonna be good! Like, it's the little guy, and he hasn't done anything yet! And that's what these two guys are, they're present for a lot of action scenes, but they're not spotlighted until the very end. So the whole movie, I was like, I know who those guys are and what they're capable of. Show me them.
They're very noticeable. Like I noticed them throughout the film.
They're very charismatic performers.
They are. They're actually they're kind of like fans of his. They fight him a little bit, and then they kind of like shake his hand, like we're actually honored to fight you. And they kind of jab at him a little bit too, like, oh, he's getting kind of old. He's not that great, I mean, yeah, it's still John Wick.
That was another one of the biggest laughs for me. So the two of them, they're both armed with knives, and he's got nothing actually. Yeah. Majority of this fight is a lot of grappling, a lot of judo and jiu-jitsu and stuff, and of course they're doing their silat. But a lot of the pacing is broken up by sequences where Keanu gets knocked down, and instead of following him and like stomping on him or whatever, they let him up. They're making a sport of it. And one of the biggest laughs I had in the movie was they knock him down, and this is when they're saying like, oh, he's getting old, he's not as fast as he used to be. And he gets up, and they like hold out their hands like oh, do you need a hand up? And he gets up and he just puts his palms out, and he's just like, whatever. like he just shoots them both a look like, fuck both of you. And he actually just walks past them directly towards the camera and just like, I've had enough. And he's like muscling his belt off while he looks like a pissed off dad.
It was kind of funny. I thought he was going to take his jacket off finally. I'm like, is he actually going to take his jacket off to fight? But he's been doing all these movies with a sports coat on.
With a sports coat on. I mean, that's how you hide your pads, Yeah. I mean, he takes a lot of bumps. I would want to keep my jacket on too.
Yeah. He fights these dudes, and it's fun. They don't do the disappearing. It's Mark Dacascos that does the disappearing. But
yeah,
this is maybe it's like 15 minutes. Like this, I'm fighting the first two dudes. These two dudes. Does he actually kill these two?
No, he does not. Very important to note. So yeah, it's a 2-on-1 fight. It's pretty lengthy, and the way the score is driving it, it's like driving home the fact that yes, this is awesome. And I believe the conclusion of it is he knocks one of them down, and then he picks up he suplexes one of them. That made me that was awesome. Supplé rather. That made me very happy.
I laughed at that part because he goes through the glass, doesn't he? Like,
he picks up one of them and he like does like a Samoan drop on him, but I think he lands on top of the other one and they fall through the glass floor onto the glass floor below that, and they're collapsed in a heap. And he gets up, and they're thinking about getting up and. This is where you fall down.
We're good, man.
He's like, you can get up if you like, but this is your opportunity to bow out, and they bow out. And then he heads upstairs, and Mark Dacascos is there. And
Mark Dacascos has just been staring, like just kind of watching over the glass creepily.
He gets a couple of fun beats in there where he's like clapping almost. Yeah, I think he actually literally does like clap. He probably does. He applauds him because he's a big fan. He's a super fan. And unfortunately, as much as I love Mark Dacascos, there's no way he could measure up to those two. No. Like in terms of spectacle, it's like all of these movies kind of peter out towards the end. It's kind of unfortunate, but that's just what happens.
Like you have two dudes that weigh like a combined like 200 pounds that can spin and kick and do all kinds of crazy shit. Like spinning ninja jujitsu. Like,
spin jitsu, if you will.
Spin jitsu, yeah. What was that? The Rundown, that's what it was. It's like some kind of spinning Tarzan jujitsu.
Oh, yeah.
So, it's hard to top that. It probably would have been cooler if it was somebody younger, but I'm sure he's friends with
that's what's funny, is they're both older guys.
Yeah.
So it's almost fitting that like like our movie filled with bombastic action ends with two over the hill guys going at it.
Two guys wheezing and about to shit their pants. Yeah.
I mean, Mark Dacascos he's still got it. Like he's still a charismatic performer. He's still got the kicks.
I say he's still in shape.
Better
than Keanu's kicks and what were we talking about?
Man of Tai Chi.
Yeah, man.
He gets one kick in this movie. He does a side kick. He doesn't try to do a roundhouse kick. He just does like a straight side kick and pushes someone through a glass wall. I think it's the only kick he throws that isn't towards the balls in this movie. And yeah, he has some trouble getting that hip up. Yeah. But their fight it's like a sword fight, except for the most part, Mark Dacascos is the only one that has a sword. They do their ninja tricks where both of them can disappear at will.
Yeah, I didn't care for that, I'll be honest with you. I'm like, stop fucking disappearing. We could knock 10 minutes out of this movie, I feel like, by just not including that disappearing shit. It takes so much time.
Yeah, I feel like maybe this should have been a 3-on-1 instead of a 2-on-1 and then a 1-on-1.
I think you're right. I think that this could have been the three of them fucking with him, but I don't know. If those guys are as good as you say they are, like you need to showcase them. They need to.
I'm glad that they got like spotlighted, but at the same time, it's just like in terms of ordering things from a storytelling standpoint, you have to have Mark Dacascos last. In terms of spectacle, he can't. If he's your main event, he's not going to be as good as the opening act.
I'm not trying to be racist, but are they twins or are they just both Indonesian?
No, okay. They're just both Indonesian. It's funny, the person sitting next to me said the exact same thing.
They move so quickly, it's hard for me to get a good look at them. Like, they're the same height and build.
They have the same haircut in the movie.
Yeah.
They both have the long hair pulled back.
They're the same size. They're both 5 foot or 4'8", I'm not sure. But they're both like tiny little dudes with the same haircut. I'm like, I don't think they're related, but they could be. So what he could have done is had him fighting one, and like the disappearing thing keeps happening. He keeps fighting, and then he realizes at some point it's like, oh shit, there's two of them. I thought there was just one of them, but it's actually two guys. Like,
yeah, that's something they could have done. I was thinking like have it be 3-on-1 where like the two of them start the fight. Mark Dacascos like lunges in from the darkness. And then it's like, oh shit, there's a third guy. And then over the course of the fighting, the two of them get like knocked out or just dispatched in some fashion because we want to keep them alive because there's going to be another movie.
Yeah, I know that.
And then it seamlessly turns into a 1-on-1, and then Mark Dacascos gets killed. That's in my mind that maybe would have worked better, but whatever.
Are there any other would you consider this a martial arts film or just an action film?
I mean, it's the purest of action films in that it tries to do every type of action possible. Like, we get cars, we get horses, we get dogs, we get guns, we get martial arts.
I mean, this did gangbusters at the box office, and the other two movies did really well. I think the first one did well. I don't know about the second one, but this one did really well.
I think it did.
This one did really well opening weekend. Are there any other movies of this type that could actually do well at the box office? I think that might be why they're doing a fourth one. Like, guys, we're actually making money off these things. We could probably do another one.
Not of this nature.
No,
usually there's some other gimmick attached, like it's like part of like a comic book franchise or as a previously established property. This is like the purest of action films.
A movie like this normally wouldn't make money, but they've locked into something special here.
They absolutely have. So, long story short, Mark Dacascos is run through. We immediately cut to the parlay. Adjudicator apparently is psychic and knows that all of their goons got killed. So they offer parlay to Winston. Like, maybe we can work this out. Then we cut back to Mark Dacascos and Keanu. They have a little exchange. It's kind of funny because Mark Dacascos is like, "Oh, I just need to catch my breath." And he has a fucking wakizashi coming out of his chest.
He's dying. And
yeah,
I was surprised he sits up because he's sitting like kind of down, and he just kind of, give it. He's like he's winded.
I mean, it's akin to the Penguin picking the cute one. I mean, Batman Returns, the Penguin's last words, one of my very favorite quotes in cinema. Ah, shit! I picked the cute one. Yeah. I'll be murdering you momentarily. I just need a cool glass of ice water.
I'll be murdering you momentarily. I like Bill Murray and you didn't see Zombieland, have you?
I have not.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, I won't tell you then.
Okay.
But yeah, anyway, we get to the parlay, which is on a roof, not a rooftop, but like a terrace that has a nice couch and a fireplace. It looked like they just took the wall and ceiling off of one of the rooms.
Yeah, the fireplace really threw me.
Yeah.
It looked like if Al Pacino in The Devil's Advocate had another building.
Yeah.
Like, this is his alternate. Like, this is his summer building.
It was really, really raining yesterday. Like,
now it's sunny.
Day, I'm like, did you move that couch in? Because that looks like a good $5,000 couch. Did you move that inside? No?
Open air, yeah. But what happens here is that John Wick gets double-crossed.
I saw this coming as soon as we got up there. I'm like, yep, he's about to get double-crossed. That's exactly what's about to happen.
Yeah, so Winston, who previously was like buddy-buddy with John Wick, the adjudicator, basically, they come to an agreement where Winston can retain his powers, and then John Wick is still fucked. Which results in Winston shooting John Wick multiple times with a handgun. And, of course, he has his super-duper awesome bulletproof suit, so the bullets don't really work, but he falls off the roof, and it's a pretty spectacular CGI-assisted fall. He goes splat.
There's no way he survived this. I'm sorry. He hit his head on the fire escape of a building.
I mean, this is like Black Sheep falling down the hill, kind of like...
Off the building, he goes off the building, hits an awning. Like, I'm like, oh, he might make it, and then he hits the fire escape. I'm like, nope, sorry, that was too much. You should have just had him hit the awning, and then maybe go through another one.
No,
and then
what needed to happen here is he hits the ground, and then a bunch of cats come out and start nibbling on him, and then they nibble him back to health. Yeah, but yeah. So the conclusion of our film is, I believe John Wick gets carted in on a shopping cart.
Yeah,
by your boy,
Rafi.
Jason Matsukas or whatever.
Yeah.
And he is presented to the Bowery King, who is not dead, and he is drinking a Fanta, and it's fucking amazing.
I do like, Larry Fishburne, great.
Oh yeah, he is in full on Larry mode, and I kind of love it. I'm excited. I'm glad. Yeah, I'm glad to see him do this. But his face is all cut to shit because he got his 7 cuts, but apparently he didn't die. So he basically speechifies for a minute and explains that he's pretty upset. He's not mad. He's very mad.
He's crazy guy mad. Like,
mean, he was crazy already, but now he's mad. And I believe the last shot of the film is Keanu Reeves looking up from the ground, from the oriental carpeted ground.
Hey, John,
and he says,
are you mad?
and he says, yeah.
I'm like, God damn it, there's a John Wick 4. I had no clue that's where they were going to go. They were telling me the whole movie. They're like, he's not dead. No, he's not dead. No. There's that character, her, the adjudicator. I'm like, she kind of got off pretty easily there. So, yeah, but once you see him get shot, and like, well, obviously there's going to be a fourth one.
By the time the credits rolled, I figured it out. Because I think I said it before, the way the next movie is probably going to play out is the way that I expected this one to play out, because there was a lot of evidence in the second film to suggest that Keanu Reeves and Larry Fishburne were going to get together just like they did in the Matrix movies to fight the man. So I was just picturing a movie where John Wick and the hobo army rise up and fight the hightail. Apparently we're saving that. But all throughout this entire franchise, we've been planting the seeds for what looks to be a John Wick Avengers, like a John Wick crossover. So Ruby Rose, not dead. Oh. Common, not dead. Sisep and Yayan, not dead. So there's all these people that he's fucked up but not killed. Also Halle Berry. So he's fought with all these people over all these movies, but they're not dead. And the asking price of most of these people probably isn't that high, except for Ruby Rose, who I'm guessing is expensive now.
It might be. Not really.
But she's doing that Batwoman thing. But
not
what
really.
I'm trying to say here is there's a lot of characters who he has not killed, who he's shown mercy in some regard, who have a chance to come back in some fashion. And that's what I'm guessing they're going to do, because that's, if there's any way to make an audience happy, it's stuff like that. It's wrestling logic. Every time The Rock comes back after a hiatus, the crowd goes nuts. It's like, oh shit, Common's not dead.
I wanted to say real quick that I don't enjoy bashing people's performances of characters, like for Halle Berry. I just don't think that this is a director that's good at directing actors for like dialogue, and it's not. I don't think it's their fault. I just don't think he's like, yep, that's good. I got a fight sequence. I gotta figure out next. Same with Asia Kate Dillon. Like I'm sure they could have done better, but again, this isn't so much a story director. This is an action sequence director. So,
well, the exposition is always the weakest part of all these movies, where it's
not their fault. I'm just saying it's probably not their fault.
It's probably not, but I mean, there's also a reason why we have like really, really solid actors slotted into some of these roles, like Ian McShane. You don't need to tell him. You don't need to tell him what to do.
You don't need to tell him. Larry Fishburne, just like be crazy, but not as crazy as you were in Predators.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, he's wearing the same outfit basically.
This Predator. There's another movie with him. I swear to God, where he's like, I think he's in a. It's winter outside. It might be the Snowpiercer. I can't remember, but he's in another movie in this almost exact same outfit. Sorry. It's gonna drive me nuts, but go ahead, continue. I'll find it.
Oh well, I was just gonna wrap things up, or at least get us towards wrapping up. In saying that I definitely enjoyed this film quite a bit.
Yep.
It is kind of amazing that I enjoyed it, despite the fact that the plot goes almost nowhere.
The colony. The colony. He's doing the same thing in the colony. Yeah, the plot goes nowhere, really.
Yeah, it even geographically goes almost entirely in a circle, because he's right back in New York, despite going to Morocco and into the desert and everything.
All he did was get safe passage. I'm sorry, he didn't even get safe passage to the to the Continental. He just got asylum. He gave his finger for asylum to get back to the Continental.
Yeah, but it's kind of funny how, like, in some regards, it bears some resemblance to the Matrix films, in that this is Keanu Reeves, and the inevitability of the story is that it's going to end up with him at odds with the high table. So it's going to be, gotta smash the system, brah! It's like, I mean, it's fitting that the Matrix films, at least 2 out of 3 of them anyway, end with like Rage Against the Machine songs. So I mean, we're doing it again, and Morpheus is here too. So it's like, It's kind of perfect.
Honest to God, I swear to you, I didn't even put that together until you just said it. That's insane.
Ouch. Wow, it took that long. So now I'm curious, is like, are they gonna be able to get like Hugo Weaving in there or something?
That would be kind of cool. I don't
because that's like part of the appeal for these movies is every time a new one gets announced, I'm like, ooh, who's gonna be in it?
They couldn't
because
afford
they
them.
get.
They spend too much money in the Avengers in game. They're like, we have way too much money. We can't do Hugo Weaving to come in here and say 2 fucking words.
I think they didn't want him. Like, that's my guess.
Why? It's so simple. I think it was just too much money to have him say a few lines, like less lines than he did in. Was he the one who did the voice in Infinity War?
I don't think so. Actually,
okay.
I think he's only played Red Skull once. That's my assumption.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah. I think he's known to be kind of a prick. It's like, I know, like the Transformers movies, he got in hot water because he was shit talking them too much. Because they got him to do the voice instead of Frank Welker, and instead of Frank Welker, it was like, how dare you? But apparently he was shit talking the production a lot, like very publicly. It's like, you don't do that. They're paying.
Was that Michael Bay? Was that Michael Bay that directed those movies?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't do that.
Yeah, he's a very powerful man.
Fox and Shia LaBeouf, how their careers are going right now.
Yeah, I mean, no joke. But anyway, John Wick 3, Chapter 3, Parabellum. It's a very, very, very enjoyable action film if you're into that, so I would highly recommend you check it out in the theaters.
I'm not into action films, and I very much enjoyed it, so if you don't even like action films and you're not squeamish, go check it out. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. So that being said, I guess this draws Catching Up on Keanu month to a close.
Just about.
It's been a lot of fun. I'm not sure the order in which these are going to be posted, but this might be the last episode of our Catching Up on Keanu series. But
correct.
That being said, thanks for joining us. Until next time.
Yeah.